Good morning, everyone. My name is Bobby Behnsch, and I'm here to discuss Chapter 9, Special Needs Technology, which is really dear to my heart and to my family's heart. The reason why I chose this, I had a daughter when she was about 13 years old. She developed a disability through strep that attacked her brain, and for the next 3 years was a battle to try to see what the proper medication was to be able to handle her situation. And the teachers, schools who helped her through this particular process is very near and dear to my heart. My daughter graduated from high school, graduated college, and has worked the last 16 months at a boarding school where she attended for other teenagers with issues. So safe to say that you can, able to dig yourself out of the hole. It takes a lot of prayers. It takes a lot of faith. But wanted to pick this particular chapter because it touches those students who, in the past, back when I was going to school in the 70s and the 80s, well, they're just a slow learner. They have this or they have that. And to be able to now today, with the technology that we have and that we know about, to be able to help those students to be a productive citizen, make them feel wanted, that really touches my heart. And so today, what I wanted to do was, in this particular podcast, understand that notes on this particular podcast are on the website that I created, and some helpful hints. If you have any questions, there is a portion there to reach out to, to contact me. I have my email address on there. So if you have any questions, to please, able to reach out to me. Currently right now, there is about 7 million students who get services in the United States through some sort of special education, through some sort of a service that they deem necessary to have. And 34% of those have a specific learning disability. That could range from being blind, hearing, not having their hands work properly for keyboards, or whatever the case is. So technology in the past really never addressed those issues. But today, with assisted learning and the things that we have now at our schools, which help our students. One, handheld tablets, help learning disabilities. The use of iPad through Steve Jobs' survey really helped tremendously autistic students. Larger keyboards. I actually witnessed this years ago when I had a student that had a hard time, was in a wheelchair, had a hard time with his hands. Larger keyboard helped him in my keyboarding class. Never even thought about that. We have a Braille reader for the blind to be able to take notes so they can listen to the message. And then while that's happening, there is a reader that will actually take notes for them. Very interesting. And then there's hearing aid issues as well too that help students to hear better. And it's unbelievable. These are all integrated into the lesson plans of the day today too. Over the last 20 years, students, it's just opened up too many. It's opened up too many doors that I can't even explain to be able to have that. But what is really interesting to me is the amount of students who are not deemed special education students. These things help them as well too. And that It's kind of like a light that went off, with me. Sometimes a student has a hard time just, understanding. Heck, I have a hard time understanding. So those things we can use with all of our students, not just what is deemed special education, okay? But we need to take that proactive approach. No doubt about it. We have to take the proactive approach. Learn from students. Learn from asking them. Learning and witnessing what all students need, especially the special ed students as well too. One of the other things as well too that I kind of learned, and this is an old dog, from a teaching standpoint, is start slow. Don't just try to jump into having all of this, type of technology, and you're like in Star Wars, boy, I got all of these new gadgets. You just need to kind of implement that slow as you possibly can. And that the last thing I'm going to say about that too, going into, actually chapter 9 message is you need to collaborate with other teachers, younger teachers. Okay, they, if I have an issue with my iPhone, I go to my daughter or my son or my TV or whatever the case is. They understand that and just learn from that. But just being willing to learn from that, that's a huge, huge thing. So going into the lesson today, learning outcomes, identify basic special education concepts, okay? Just to kind of understand, what we can do to help our students. That's a big key right now. And to understand the current issues and the challenges. We have a lot of challenges out there right now. Sorry about that. I'm just kind of moving this over a little bit. What are those challenges? Possibly our challenges are that we don't have that type of technology at our schools. I'm actually blessed at a large school in San Antonio, but maybe you're at a small little school that's that you don't have those particular resources. Okay. How do we get here today? Well, as I said years and years ago, we really didn't know what special education means. We thought that people were just, quote, slow. I know that from a fact because I had a bad speech, issue. Stuttering was, terrible. I had, teachers, thinking that I don't know what they thought, really, to be honest with you. But then when I read silently, when I would take all of those tests, it was like, wow, well, he isn't as dumb as, what we think he is, or whatever the case is, or at least that's what I thought, okay? But to have those types of things, just to think outside the box, has really come a long way. The Individuals with Disability Education Act idea, to bring on new laws, to bring on new ideas into the classroom, unbelievable. Universal Design Learning, UDL, another big thing that came across, though, to help from a learning aspect. Another big issue that, we think about, it's really common today, is the web accessibility. Years ago, there would be some schools out in the countries, they didn't have, internet or the capabilities of having a bunch of computers and, things of that nature. So that has really come a long way, with that. With our challenges in the special ed technology right now, it's the resources, just having that information, having the money to be able to do that. I know, actually, looking at some of your posts, some of my other colleagues in here, some school districts don't have that type of money, to be going after, the new and new things that they can, able to take advantage of. Okay. Some of the foundations and the strategies for special education come from those types of things. Assisted technology. Okay. And there's two different types. You have a device, which, larger keyboard, help your hearing, having the Braille for the blind, or it's just services. It's just one-on-one, though, trying to see what that student needs, and that's a part of utilizing that technology, though, to find out what type of an assistance that student actually needs. Another thing is, too, with the clarifying the solutions, there's really 3 different types on this, okay? One is a no-tech solution, which means that there's no technology at all, but to be able to assess, able to find out what helps that particular student. There's low-tech solutions. Maybe it's an assisted reader, or it's something that is just really, really basic. Maybe it's just get some headphones or whatever that case is, or what that situation is. But it's really low-tech. High-tech solutions are for those. I've seen it to where I had a student come in, wheelchair, could not use any use of the hands, but it actually, from his eyes, could actually communicate with me through a device that would actually speak to me. It blew me away. Those are the types of things out there that's, like I call it, the Star Wars stuff. It's stuff that's way, way out there. But it's helping our students to be really, really productive. With those types of devices, you have stuff for reading skills, writing skills, small disabilities, and then as I said, the ones that are just completely mind-boggling there as well too. Technology strategies for students. Mine is this: make them feel welcomed. Make them feel a part of your classroom. Make them feel not special from a special education standpoint, but just make them feel like they're wanted in your classroom. I have really found out that that's a big motivation as well too. When that student's not in my class, I congratulate and I encourage my other students to learn from that too. That's a learning experience for them, in my opinion, to be able to cope with things and, not to shun people off. I think that's what we really need to, focus on, the human element of this whole situation with the quote special education. Strategies. There's also too for the gifted and the talented. You may have a child that is, autistic. We have a family friend. He is autistic, but he is able to tell you when every single high school in San Antonio, when it was built, if they've made any type of changes, knows all the mascots. It's uncanny what he is able to remember. So to be able to find those things out with those gifted and talented type of students, even if you don't have autism, to be able to bring that out, okay? And then, the teacher growth in the technology, we have to be willing to expand our horizons and think outside the box, and to be accepted with this new way of actually teaching. The old way of standing up and, speaking for 45 minutes and they take notes, that's a thing of the past. I know that. Students don't even like that because they want something that they can touchy-feely, and they, able to use that as well too. So I feel that from teaching standpoint, us older teachers, okay, and I'm an older teacher, we have to realize that, and that we have to encourage other teachers who have been doing this over 20 years to, to really learn how to use things to our advantage to help students. Because at the end of the day, it's still benefiting me, and it's also benefiting our students. In conclusion, that the 3 takeaways I took away from this chapter is that the technology enhances every student. It's just not for the special education, so it enhances every student, including me as the teacher. I'm able to find and I'm able to hear things from other students that is amazing to me that they have actually come up with. But it motivates a new way of learning. It's just not your big chief notebook and your big pencil, which I had way, back in the day. There's new ways of skinning the cat, is what they say. And, to make learning fun. I'm having fun in this class right here as well, too. So make learning fun. Increases student-teacher productivity. The student's able to find new things. I'm able to give them the tools to help them learn, which is in turn helping me learn new things as well, too. And students can work at their own pace. Instead of being bogged down with an old fart like me that's up there and just, speaking all the time, they can learn and they can challenge themselves as well too. And then they'll finally, I think that probably the most important thing I took away from this, and I actually got this from my wife, who is a business teacher as well too, is a web-based assignments website you can go to with the curriculum. She has a special needs student that she's in a coding class, and to be able him to be able to learn how to code from an online program to stay up with the regular class is amazing. But what's also amazing is some of her students have a hard time getting some of her lessons, and she can now use that with those students. So with the technology that's out there, we have to be able to, open our eyes to that, okay? Open-minded. I could go on and I could talk for days about this. But the one thing I think about is though those teachers that helped my daughter, it has made me a better teacher. I look for things now that I never thought I would ever look for. Those little signs of a student who is struggling, whether they have special needs or not. And so at the end of the day, we're here to help all students. I thank you very much for listening. I hope you got something out of my podcast. And everybody have a very, very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.